So you said a lot of interesting things about capitalism that I really agree with, because I agree with that statement of Hegel's or notion of Hegel's that the community is first, and the community gives rise to the individual through its customs and its language and its culture, and that capitalism definitely assumes a lot about the nature of human beings when it says that we are innately selfish, because we can't be innately selfish if our own individuality comes from others. Then we're innately related, which is, I guess, Hegel's point that everything is mediated. Everything takes place within a language, within a historical context. But my question is, what about before language, before history? Because history obviously had a beginning, right? Language, as we know it today, the phonetic alphabet certainly had a beginning in time, and it's probably going to have an ending in time, right? Which could be any day. It could be tomorrow. It could be 5 years from now. It could be, 1,000 years from now. But at some point, it will have an ending. So when Hegel takes the stance of ultimate idealism, where everything is the idea that we have of it, or the mediated concept of it, where did that come from, and where's it going to go when it disappears, and what's left? I mean, because certainly we don't think that this means that before the calendar was instated and we started speaking a language, that nothing existed. So how do we deal with the ends of history, with the fact that history is a finite thing? I mean, I was going to say a finite amount of time, but history is time itself. Time is another type of mediation. It doesn't. It's not out there. We create it. So I haven't read Hegel, so I'm not sure if he touched on this issue. And eternity is, I guess, Kierkegaard's big focus, and that's maybe why he was so um, against this universalizing tendency of Hegel, to say that everything is mediated and everything is the community, and you're just a part of the crowd, part of the masses. And Kierkegaard was like, I want to be an individual, I guess, and to do that, he needed eternity or infinity to be very powerful words, and not words that are just words that are mediated. Eternity can't have a historical context if it is what it's what it is, But then, how do we have access to eternity? How do we have access to the now? And certainly, I think there's a difference between the now, that's between the past and the future, and the eternal present that's just past, present, future. It's not even inside that framework anymore, because that is a framework that we set up. Time broken down into these segments, that's a framework, and that's not the way it is. And I guess we can never talk about the way it is. We can never think about the way it is, but it is the way it is, and we aren't separate from it. So there's the individual and the community, and they're related. No such thing as an individual by itself. No such thing as a community by itself. All communities are made up of individuals, and all individuals are made up of a community. Right? Even, I mean, my mind is a collection of public symbols, and my body even is a collection of organisms. I think something like 70% of the DNA in my body isn't even human, and there's all these bacteria living in my stomach, and I am, even my cells, they have symbionts that attached to them, and they somehow became able to function together and reproduce as one organism. So I'm a collection of relationships between individuals that, when you zoom in, become more collections of individuals in a community, and we keep zooming in and zooming, and we never arrive. I mean, this is the whole particle wave distinction at the basis of physics now, right? Every time we find a particle, we zoom in a little bit more, and it becomes energy, and it becomes waves, because the wave is like the community; it's all attached. And the particle is like an individual, or it exists by itself in space. So, I want to know an answer to that original question, though. Like, what does Hegel say about eternity? Does he just say, oh, that's just another mediated event, or another mediated word, or does he acknowledge that before human history, before human language, there was something, and after human history and human language ends, there will be something? Maybe not something, no nouns and verbs running around, but just that. What is that?